Rigour, which is my favourite word in business, because you're not successful in business by accident. You have to be rigorous and detailed in your work and your analysis.
Jim Ratcliffe has been highly successful as a businessman in his career, but will he succeed at Manchester United? The early signs have been really impressive, and that little clip from Ratcliffe there saying rigour is his favourite word in business. We keep talking about what Brailsford is going to bring, what Blanc is going to bring, maybe what Berrada is going to bring, what Ashworth and what Mitchell could bring. What's Ratcliffe going to bring? He's the one leading. He's the one as the co-owner. What I'm going to do in this video is take a look at the changes that have happened so far in this Ratcliffe Manchester United era. We've all been stung by owners before, but change is really happening. And it's not just about words anymore. Let's assess this. Give me 10 minutes of your time, all right? Because I want to go back to this to begin with. This is the statement that was released by Manchester United when Ratcliffe's 25% takeover was announced. And this is the first statement from Ratcliffe there. And you'll notice a certain word. We are here for the long term and recognise that a lot of challenges and hard work lie ahead, which we will approach with rigour, professionalism and passion. He said it's his favourite word in business, and it's the first word he mentioned there about Manchester United. Now, a quick look at what the definition of rigour is. The quality of being extremely thorough and careful. Severity or strictness, harsh and demanding conditions. And if we look at how Ratcliffe has acted up until that Berrada announcement came out, the bomber, he's been rigorous in what he's doing. He knows that communication and visibility and presence was one of the major downfalls of the Glazers, and he is not going to repeat that mistake. Meeting with staff at Old Trafford, speaking to them directly face to face, which the Glazers never did. Going and meeting Erik ten Hag, meeting certain players as well, having the visible presence at Carrington straight away. Meeting with the press, telling them, look, you'll get the opportunity to speak to me directly in the next 3 to 4 weeks. That's when we're going to get a proper Ratcliffe sit down, maybe interview with the Athletic or somebody else. And he's going to create that accountability through visible presence. He met with Fergie. He met with fan representatives as well. He has been rigorous in understanding the importance of that first impression because of what the Glazers have done before him. And then we see what's happened with Omar Berrada, which has surprised everybody, shocked everybody in the best way possible, poaching a really high prospect. He's not a prospect, a really high level operator in the City group. He's now resigned and come to Manchester United. So on top of being rigorous, which is all good and well, is decisiveness. And this leads to action. Definition of decisiveness: having or showing the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively. Well, how about nobody linking Omar Berrada to the CEO position, to David Ornstein saying that he's going to become our new CEO, to 2.5 hours later, Manchester United have already announced that Omar Berrada is going to be our new CEO. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but that statement there is extremely important. The club is determined to put football and performance on the pitch back at the heart of everything we do. Omar's appointment represents the first step on this journey. It's massive. It's not even shade towards the Glazers. It's just like, you did not focus on the football club whatsoever. You just looked at a cash cow and you bled it dry until there was nothing left to bleed. And then you needed me to come in. You want me in? You want my investment? This is where we're going now. And a CEO, as I've said multiple times, was a position where the Glazers had an influence on it. But they've got their man, Ineos and Ratcliffe. And this is a man that City did not want to lose. And it is a man which he's turned down offers before from different clubs, from NFL franchises. He was happy at City. He was determined to stay at City, according to the Athletic. But Ratcliffe and Ineos have poached him. So they've been rigorous in their process of identifying who they think are the right minds to help bring this change to Manchester United. And they've been decisive in going after him. They went after him with a meeting in December between Brailsford and Berrada. And then Ratcliffe had a meeting with Berrada. Then they sat down with the Glazers. And boom, 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 it's announced. Omar Berrada is our new CEO. And that right there is a dramatic change at Manchester United. Not only in the actual decision-making ability and swiftness of it, but also the decision that has been taken. It's a game-changing signing, I think, and a real sign of what could be to come at our football club. And as it's been reported there by The Athletic, I think it's a statement of intent. It's a statement of what wasn't working before, and it's a statement that Ineos and Ratcliffe have the ability to turn Manchester United back into the pool that we should be, the pool that we've lost, and the pool that just got replaced by paying players too much money because the players themselves will sort it. You don't need an overarching plan or a vision. Doesn't matter about that. Let's just pay all these players as much as possible. And it's created a poisonous atmosphere and poisonous culture which has ripped this club apart from the inside out. And so many people, I understand, and I keep saying this, I understand that you're stung by what the Glazers have done. This was their statement after the European Super League collapsed, promising better communication that never, ever, ever came. All the Glazers did was lie. And how can Jim possibly change that if he's got 25% of the club? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that the Glazers gave up 100% control of all football club operations for 25% total ownership. Unless you realise and understand that the Glazers have never looked at Manchester United as a football club first. They've looked at us as a commercial entity that also happens to play football. The complete wrong way around. Something that he's absolutely determined to change. And that Omar Berrada appointment has just filled me with real hope, because on top of Omar Berrada now as a CEO, and he can be the overall football mind and the vision that links it all together. You've got Dave Brailsford, who's going to be specifically, I think, focusing on performance. Now, I'm going to run through the structure that I think is kind of shaping up now. It feels like roles are becoming a little bit more clear as we learn more. Omar Berrada now involved, of course, as well, but that means Jean-Claude Blanc is somewhere else. But I think Brailsford's going to be focusing purely on elite performance, right? And we go over here. So this was a fantastic tweet from Henry Winter, and there's a lot to take from it. And I've highlighted a few points here, but I want to kind of run through it, because Ratcliffe and Ineos straight away have gone after an elite operator in Omar Berrada and got him away from City, poached him away from one of the most well-oiled, pun intended, football operations that exist. Now, there's 115 reasons why we might have some concerns about it, but if Ratcliffe and Ineos have got the belief enough to make him our CEO, feels like they must know what they're doing. Otherwise, it would be a huge risk. And on top of that, that statement about the new culture, right there, determined to put football and performance back on the pitch. And then, on top of that as well, we go down here, investment in improving performance culture. That's exactly where Dave Brailsford comes in, because there's so many assets and parts that all have to work at the same time. Creating the actual football environment and culture there, that's going to be down to Omar Berrada really as a CEO. But in terms of performance, in terms of elite performance and that culture, that can come from Brailsford. And then you've got, of course, I hope 2 more men to come in and to make sure that from a sporting perspective, that every decision that Manchester United make ties into a vision that we've got in 5 years' time of being, I don't know, winning the treble by the time that Jim Ratcliffe's 80. If that's the overall vision in 9 years' time, great. Dan Ashworth will be the man that drives that vision. And Paul Mitchell will therefore just be, if I'm saying that it might not be Ashworth and Mitchell, but I can see exactly where they would fit in this system. The positions are right there. And it's just for so many people who rightly have been scarred by the last 20 years, just looked at Ratcliffe, and it was so ridiculous to call him Glazer 2.0. It might have made people feel better because they haven't got the Qatari takeover. They haven't got the millions and millions and millions that Man United don't need from a perspective that we have revenues in excess of 600 million. What we need is somebody to come in with rigor, with decisiveness, who can build a team that manages Manchester United better and properly, and therefore we can actually run ourselves sustainably rather than somebody who doesn't care about any of that and just wanted to take money out of our club. Omar Berrada is the first visible step of that change in culture. It's now not just words from Ratcliffe. People saying, oh yeah, you can do all the PR stuff, this and that and this and that. Poaching one of City's high-level operators, getting him to resign and join our club is not words. That is a statement of intent that falls right in line with that concept that they are determined to put football and performance back on the pitch. I think Ratcliffe is showing in these early signs that he means business. That there is a genuine reason to be optimistic. There is a genuine reason to think that it could be different this time. Having seen what happened with the Glazers. Now, he's got an important few weeks ahead. He's got the being officially ratified by the Premier League and the press that will then come out after that. I imagine we're going to get a full sit-down, not United People's TV, but the media will get a sit-down interview with Ratcliffe. I imagine he'll release an interview with the club as well, and we're going to be able to pick apart all of that, and I'm fascinated to see what comes next. But the early signs are, I think, better than I could have hoped for, really. Certainly with the Omar Berrada stuff. I was expecting him to be able to, do the meetings and stuff, but he still did it all, right? He's well aware. Awareness is a big thing here. Awareness is important, in my opinion. Having the rigour, yeah, cool. That's his favorite. That's his favorite word in business. I think he's applied that so far. He's shown decisiveness, but the awareness to understand what Manchester United's problems were and the people he needs to bring in to make it happen. I think that's another thing that he's shown. It is a new era. It isn't exactly what we all wanted in the Glazers being gone completely. But if in 3 years' time they're not there anymore, and this is the start of the direction that we're going in, and this is the beginning, and more is coming, I am optimistic about what's next. Certainly more optimistic than I have been at any point, really, in a long, long time about my football club.